Pistons versus Cavaliers. Detroit forces Game 7 in stunning playoff turnaround, Cleveland. Just when it looked like the season was slipping away, the Detroit Pistons delivered their biggest performance in years. Facing elimination in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, the young Pistons stormed into Cleveland and dominated the Cavaliers 115-94, evening the series at 3-3 and forcing a dramatic Game 7. For a Detroit franchise that has spent years rebuilding, this win felt larger than a single playoff game. It was a statement. The Pistons are no longer just a young team with potential. They are now a real postseason threat. The Cavaliers entered Game 6 with momentum and home court confidence after taking a 3-2 series lead. Many expected Cleveland's experience and defensive depth to close the series out. Instead, Detroit completely flipped the pressure. From the opening quarter, the Pistons played with urgency, energy, and confidence. Their defense disrupted Cleveland's rhythm early, forcing turnovers and difficult shots. On offense, Detroit pushed the pace, attacked the paint aggressively, and knocked down timely perimeter shots. By halftime, the Cavaliers looked stunned. The crowd inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse grew quieter with every Detroit run. The Cavaliers, one of the East's most balanced teams all season, struggled to find consistency offensively. Their stars were repeatedly pressured by Detroit's physical defense, while the Pistons controlled the rebounding battle in transition game. The biggest surprise of the night was Detroit's composure. Young playoff teams often struggle in elimination games, especially on the road. But the Pistons played with the calmness of a veteran group. Possession after possession, they avoided mistakes and executed efficiently on both ends of the floor. Detroit's bench also played a major role. Second-unit players brought energy, hustle, and critical scoring during key stretches of the second and third quarters. Every time Cleveland attempted to make a run, the Pistons responded immediately. Meanwhile, frustration started to show for the Cavaliers. Missed shots, defensive breakdowns, and foul trouble disrupted Cleveland's momentum throughout the game. Their offense became increasingly stagnant, relying too heavily on isolation possessions instead of ball movement. By the fourth quarter, Detroit had complete control. The Pistons' lead stretched beyond 20 points, and the atmosphere inside the arena shifted from excitement to disbelief. What was expected to be a closeout celebration for Cleveland turned into one of the Cavaliers' toughest losses of the postseason. Now everything comes down to Game 7. In the NBA, few moments are bigger than a winner-take-all playoff game. Legacies can change in a single night. Young stars can announce themselves to the league. Coaches are judged by adjustments, composure, and execution under pressure. For Detroit, Game 7 represents a massive opportunity. The Pistons have not experienced this level of playoff relevance in many years. Their rebuild demanded patience from fans, management, and players alike. There were difficult seasons, roster changes, and constant questions about whether the franchise was truly moving forward. Now, suddenly, Detroit is one win away from reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. The team's rise has been fueled by athleticism, defensive intensity, and fearless young talent. Throughout this series, the Pistons have shown resilience repeatedly, bouncing back after losses and refusing to let the Cavaliers fully take control. Their confidence appears to grow with every game. Cleveland, however, still remains dangerous. The Cavaliers finished the regular season as one of the conference's strongest teams because of their balance, discipline, and defensive identity. Even after the Game 6 loss, they still possess the experience advantage heading into the deciding matchup. The biggest question for Cleveland is mental recovery. Can the Cavaliers regroup after such a disappointing performance? Can they rediscover their offensive flow and defensive toughness in time for Game 7? Pressure will now be enormous on both sides. For Detroit, the challenge is maintaining the same aggression and composure that carried them in Game 6. Young teams sometimes struggle after emotional victories, especially entering the intensity of a Game 7 environment. For Cleveland, the challenge is avoiding panic. The Cavaliers must respond quickly, adjust strategically, and play with far more urgency than they showed in Game 6. Their stars will need to lead early and prevent Detroit from gaining confidence. NBA fans across the country are now watching this series closely because momentum has completely shifted. Only a few days ago, Cleveland looked ready to advance comfortably. Now the Pistons suddenly appear capable of pulling off one of the postseason's biggest surprises. That is the beauty of playoff basketball. One game changes everything. And now, after 6 intense battles, the Pistons and Cavaliers are headed toward the most important game of their season, a Game 7 with a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals on the line.